September 5th, 1854. Boston Evening Transcript. Boston, Massachusetts. Cholera in Paris. This disease is quite prevalent in Paris, but no official reports are permitted by the government. One woman, who had been given up by her physician, was restored by drinking half a bottle of rum and 2 bottles of strong wine. Another cure was effected by mistake. The attendant administered half a gram of ipecacuanha through the nose like snuff instead of through the mouth. A terrible excitement of the nervous system was the consequence, which induced a reaction, and the disease was thrown off. August 15, 1884. The Newfoundlander, St. John's, Canada. The excitement in Paris. Paris, July 20. It is proposed to reward as victims of duty the Sisterhood of the Petites Sœurs de Pauvre at Toulon, one of whom has died, and, including the Lady Superior, 3 of whom are ill from cholera. Their house is large and airy, in an admirable situation, but from the want of water, the piggeries and poultry yard of the convent are fearfully dirty. It is supposed that the sisters, in gathering old clothes and hotel kitchen offal for their indigent protégés, caught the epidemic. They collected food at the Victoria Hotel, where a cholera case happened. Public feeling is against the celebration of the national fete this July, and serious hopes are yet entertained that in deference to the opinions of the Academy of Medicine, it may be deferred. Dr. Koch and other medical authorities say that fumigations are powerless to stop the cholera. It might be latent in a person quitting Marseille today and break out in him tomorrow in Paris in a crowded hotel. There is a theory that a diseased person, by spitting in the street, might actually spread rapidly the plague. It is all nonsense to say that the administration is well prepared to meet the cholera. All it can do is to give a helping hand to poor people, and that help must, in the nature of things, be stinted and imperfect. The state of the public health in Paris is satisfactory, but in an intensely hot season, and with a penurious water supply, might suddenly change. The Parisians, or at least large numbers of them, are voluntarily practicing much greater self-denial than the abandonment of the fete implies. They are abstaining from salads and melons, 2 of their favorite articles of food, and are curtailing their consumption of such fruit as cannot be stewed or cooked. Even the hotel keepers can scarcely complain, for the holding of the fete would perhaps have driven away as many visitors as it attracted. As for the government, it must feel great relief. Had the cholera appeared here first after the fete, there would not have been stone enough in the streets for smashing the ministerial windows. As for the avoiding of a panic was much more likely with the fete than without. The postponement, or rather abandonment, for this year will be decidedly reassuring. Had strangers flocked hither, tired, heated, ill-edged, and ill-fed, they would have been particularly liable to infection and might have carried the epidemic to all parts of France and Europe. April 28, 1900, the Lewiston Daily Sun, Lewiston, Maine. Fatal disaster. 9 persons killed and about 40 injured on Paris Exposition grounds. Falling bridge the cause. Workmen and bystanders assist in rescuing dead and wounded from ruins. Several sideshows closed up. Paris, April 29, 8:15 p.m. An accident within the exposition grounds caused the death of 9 persons and injured about 50. A temporary bridge unable to withstand the Sunday crowd broke down. From a big show, the Celestial Globe, a footbridge, on which the finishing touches were being put today, crosses the Avenue de Suffren. It was constructed of wood with a stucco facade and with a plaster tower at each end. The gay crowd was passing along the avenue, and some 100 or more persons were walking beneath the bridge, when suddenly an ominous crash was heard, and the structure fell, bearing nearly 50. A shout of horror rose from the spectators, mingled with the cries of the victims. For a moment nothing could be distinguished but a cloud of dust and plaster. A scene of the greatest excitement and confusion followed. The workmen within the grounds who had witnessed the accident, the police and the Republican Guard, with quite a number of soldiers, joined in the rescue work. The promenaders forgot their Sunday attire, and covering themselves with dirt and grime in tearing away the rubbish with their hands. Wooden beams and poles were hastily brought from the half-finished buildings nearby and were used as levers to raise the fallen mass. As a result of the accident, Monsieur Lepine, prefect of police, has ordered the closing of several sideshows, the structural arrangements of which are considered dangerous. December 13, 1913. St. Petersburg Daily Times, St. Petersburg, Florida. Famous Mona Lisa is found. Masterpiece of Italian art stolen from Paris in 1911 is recovered. Rome, Italy, December 12. Hidden away in a dingy garret in Florence, where it had been kept for more than 2 years, La Gioconda, the world-famous masterpiece, which was stolen from the Louvre in Paris in August 1911, was recovered by the Italian authorities today. The thief, an Italian, was arrested. When arrested and charged with the theft of the painting, the man swore that he stole the picture from the Louvre to avenge the thefts which Napoleon committed in Italy. The painting is best known by its popular title, Mona Lisa. When examined by authorities, it was declared that the painting is the original Mona Lisa. It is probable that arrangements will be made in a short time for the return of the picture to the Louvre, as French authorities were notified today of its recovery. January 1, 1914. Berkeley Daily Gazette, Berkeley, California. Gambling stopped on streets of Paris. Paris, January 1. A custom almost centuries old was smashed to smithereens by Prefect of Police Onion today, who came down with a heavy fist upon the multitude of lotteries which flourished along the boulevards of Paris from Christmas Day until New Year's. His ban is absolute, and consternation is in the hearts of wheel spinners. The better class of Parisians hail the prefect's edict with joy. On Christmas Eve, ever since before the oldest inhabitant can remember, booths of the knockdown or street fair sort have sprung up like magic along the entire length of the great central boulevards and avenues of Paris. There are thousands of them lining both sides of the streets. In some, candy is sold. In others, cards are printed while you wait. Still others sell other things, principally mechanical toys and Christmas novelties for children. But almost every other booth has its wheel, and barkers keep up a perpetual yelp, inviting passers-by to step up and win the grand prize. For years, these gambling devices have increased, until now, during Christmas week, the boulevards form a huge Monte Carlo, where one bets a 2-cent piece instead of a louis, and wins, if one happens to be lucky, more or less worthless prizes instead of gold. The wheels are of every earthly variety, but the principle is the same. Get the money and keep the prizes. January 7, 1909. The Montreal Gazette, Montreal, Canada. Count Hamon disappears. Cairo the Palmist, alias John Warner, a fugitive from Paris. Paris, January 6. Count Louis Hamon, formerly known in America and Europe as Cairo the Palmist, and before that as plain John Warner, is a fugitive from France tonight, and the entire English and American colony is discussing his most mysterious career. Hamon is charged with embezzlement and his sumptuous office where he edited a newspaper called the American Register and conducted a bank and other enterprises to which Americans loaned capital are bare and empty scores of creditors having descended and seized everything. The complainants are Mrs. Julia P. Newell and Miss Josephine Pomeroy, formerly of New York, who claimed that they sent to Hamon stocks valued at $500,000, on which Hamon agreed to raise a loan. They allege that Hamon neither negotiated the loan nor returned the stock. Hamon, upon learning that a warrant was about to be issued for his arrest, left for London. His secretary declares that Hamon's deals had resulted in heavy losses owing to a break in the market. Since Hamon arrived in Paris in 1902, he has had easy access to society. One of his special friends was a man known as Abbé de la Fournais, whose scholarly and agreeable manner secured for him entry into the most exclusive circles. It was the abbé who presented Hamon everywhere and introduced him to Mrs. Newell and many others, with whom he later had business dealings. There are reports that Hamon and his friends, as a result of their high connection, were able to arrange many marriages among people of high standing in the Anglo-American colony. Everybody talked of the mysterious Count Hamon, his dashing manner, his beautiful apartment, his horses, his vast business venture, including a pretentious champagne enterprise near Rheims, from which he supplied many of the high-class restaurants in Paris, and of his bank and his society paper, advertised to the world by his electric letters, which helped to illuminate them in the gay Place de l'Opéra. But Hamon's life before he came to Paris was a great mystery. It was known that he had been Cairo the Palmist who, it was said, had acquired a fortune in England and America, but how he had acquired the title of Count was not known, nor did the fact cause much anxiety. Hamon is now penniless, according to his secretary, who further states that he had lost $60,000 in recent operations.